After a very long wait, we finally get new information about Biomutant in a 10-minute video and exclusive interview done by IGN at their Summer of Gaming event. Stefan was interviewed and we got a bunch of new information which we're going to break down here. It was mostly positive in my mind, except for one negative. Damon Hatfield interviewed Stefan while the new footage was shown. The first images we saw were some new shots of the 8x8 kilometer open world. The vibrant colors in the world are still here and it looks fantastic. We do see some settlements and outpost type looking locations on the map, and it's also mentioned by Stefan later in this session that after the first half an hour of the game, basically like the tutorial section, you can go anywhere in the world you wish, provided you can survive, which is something we'll touch on a little bit later as well. Possibly the biggest new piece of information is we finally get some more understanding and information about these different tribes and the different looks of the tribes, because they do look very different, and there will be 6 tribes, each representing a different DNA string. If you remember from the character creator, there are 6 DNA strings: strength, agility, vitality, charisma, and intellect. Each tribe represents one of these major DNA strings, and you'll be able to mutate your character further into these strings by helping these tribes. These DNA string mutations will drastically affect your mutant's appearance, which we did get to see some very different looking player characters here, which we haven't seen before. It looks like Experiment 101 has put a lot of work into making these tribes and these creatures look very unique and distinct between the different DNA strings. As we also know, your appearance affects your stats, so mutating into one of these tribes' DNA strings will affect your actual stats. So the example being, if you're a strength heavy melee fighter and you choose to side with the strength tribe and your appearance changes in that way, you'll also get benefits into the strength category as well. We also see a brief moment of how these interactions will affect these tribes. There is a brief shot of the mutant clearing an outpost, and then it cuts to Jagni, which looks like a leader of one of the tribes, and it states that he has lost one of his outposts and that he has 2 remaining. Based on the information we already know, I'd say that this is the part of how you can affect the tribe's relationship with not only you as the mutant, but the other tribes as well. Maybe claiming the outpost will claim it for the rival tribe, so you're taking it from one tribe and giving it to the other. Stefan also hints that there will be starting classes in the character creation that will affect your mutant's starting weapons and gear, but also their weapon proficiencies, which is something that is pretty new to information that we have. The examples given are a Psi Freak, which is like a magic user. We've seen these Psi abilities before in some of the other trailers, like the mucus bubble that you can bounce around in, and the Commando, which is described as looking like Rambo. Assumedly, this is going to be a weapon-focused class, and you'll get a lot of the weapon proficiencies by choosing this class. This won't lock you into specific weapon proficiencies. However, as you level up, you can unlock new weapon proficiencies, so you're not limited to just sticking with the ones you start out with. And this is really important when it comes to the crafting side. When crafting was shown, we did see different categories for the weapon types, as well as a weapon rarity, quality, and material. Assumedly, quality and material are based off what materials you're using to create that weapon. You can also see that there is certain specific damage types that can be put onto weapons with certain modifications. One that is shown is a frost damage element on a specific shotgun. We also saw that there was 6 materials shown, and upgrading and crafting the weapon has different costs for these materials. How you find these materials isn't shown in the video we got, but assumedly this is very similar to how open world games have worked in the past, where you find these materials out in the world. And this is also briefly mentioned that looting and finding materials, including rare parts, is how you get these special abilities like the frost damage that is key to upgrading this weapon. Certain characters won't be able to wield certain weapons. In the trailer, we did see that that shotgun that I mentioned has at least 60 strength requirement, as well as having to have the shotgun's proficiency. It won't just be weapons you'll be crafting either. You can also craft armor, which directly ties to your exploration and where you can travel in the world in a very Breath of the Wild style way. You need a warm jacket to go into the colder areas and a gas mask to go in what's called the dead zone. We also see some footage of the mutant fighting one of these World Eater bosses, including an underwater boss fight, which looks real cool against a turtle, and the mutant is in like this squid mech. It's really cool to see more of what these mechs look like and how they're going to interact within the game world. Some of these world eaters have been shown off before, like Jumbo Puff, which was the one that I got to face in my demo back in 2019 at PAX Australia, and we get to see a little bit more of that here. As I've mentioned in my previous video about Biomutant, everything we know about the game, the Tree of Life is key to this dying world. Either healing the tree or helping destroy it, it is the most important thing that's happening in the world around you. The tree has 4 roots stretching across the world, and at the end of these roots is a world eater boss, which you'll be fighting in various mechs or on foot, like the squid we saw in this demo and the land mech that we saw in the previous demos while fighting Jumbo Puff. At the end of these fights, your previous decisions will come into play with these 6 tribes, and this will affect the outcome of the story and the Tree of Life and whether it survives or is destroyed. Stefan didn't go too much into detail about how this affects the story or really the story itself, but maybe by clearing away these world eaters, a tribe will either take care of the root for you or it will harvest it to destroy, the root, and that'll affect the tree. That's just a wild guess from me. Each tribe has their own goals, so it is important how you choose to interact with them. All the new information and footage, it all looks great to me, honestly, and there is some odd saturation in some scenes that we've seen before. It just looks a little different. I'm not sure if it was, a lighting issue or something with the footage that we got, but the game is obviously still in development. The key takeaway from this gameplay is that Experiment 101 has made some massive leaps since the previous footage that we got back in 2018, and tons of new mutant designs, better looking combat, and more information about the world and the tribes. It's really good to see, and the small extra detail is that this footage was actually captured in PlayStation 4. There is a brief section where you can see the button inputs being a square and a R2 trigger. And now onto the one sad negative. We didn't get a release date, nor did we get a release window. Damon specifically asked this question of Stefan about a date, and the only information we received is that the game is in its end phase of development, which I did mention in a previous video. That's where we expected the game to be. The team is primarily working on bug squashing and some of the user experience, as there was apparently some issues with giving the player some sort of direction or carrot to follow, because the world is so open. As I mentioned, that after the first 30 minutes you can just go anywhere. They wanted to make sure that the player itself had some more direction and knew where they should be going at any time. A link to the IGN video is in the comments below if you want to see the footage for yourself and the interview. Overall though, this looks like really good progress for the game. It puts me in a really positive mindset to show what the game is now compared to the previous footage that we have from back in 2018 and earlier, like from some of the original trailers. It's been a very long time since we've had some new concrete information about the game. It's very positive, and I'm happy with what we saw. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about this new footage as well. If you want to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Does this make you more interested or less interested in the game, especially with the fact that we didn't actually get a release window, which was kind of a downer for me anyway? That's all from me today. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Norzza, and I hope you have a great day.